Good morning, everybody, and this is your Dow Jones day trade setup for today. So a new all-time high, pretty much in the bag. And I just want to get these two levels in here. That was a previous high. Just make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, that was the previous high, and then just underneath was the structure. So when you look at it this way, you can see last week we were battling really hard to get through there. Had a bit of a tweezer top forming, but obviously you need to drop below the tweezer top before that is sort of validated. So at the moment, what is really worrying me right now is we have a fairly strong wedge forming. I could probably take it onto structure like that. So it's a fairly strong wedge. Just the top part of it. So I suppose you could argue that the bottom, the whole thing is a wedge, but I think the top part is very much a wedge. But what you really need to pay attention to, that thing probably won't play out until the double bottom pattern has played out. But the way that it is contracting at the moment, it's not really moving very far. So that is a little bit of a worry. And if you look at the oscillators all over the place last week, with divergence that was forming, that divergence is gradually being erased at the moment on the 3 hour, although it is still in place. There's a high, it's a lower high, whereas price was high and then higher high. If you look at the price action on the 3 hour, especially through last week, not really conducive to thinking that this thing is going to rally hard. So you're really looking for a nice solid trend. This is a trend up, but it's not a solid trend up. Something which would just worry me at the moment. Your target of this wedge is all the way down here. If that wedge breaks and you're looking at 35,323 as a downside target, I'm not convinced it's going to happen today. Probably not this week either. We've got some really big earnings coming through this week. Pretty big week for earnings. Okay, so look at yesterday's price action. Tails to the upside, tails to the downside, bob wire confusion. The day before, which was Friday, a big up, big down, no real structure. Then we've got big up, down, up. It's just really no direction at the moment. We are drifting higher, granted, but I suspect I'm going to make this really messy now. I need to put another level in. Maybe what we should do is just get rid of that. Okay, so what we're looking for here, we do have a bit of a gap. So that would be an area to buy off. 35,747 is definitely some area to buy off. But you could bear in mind that you've got these previous highs here. So being a previous high, I would expect it to be tested. So 35,655, especially when price action is like it is now. So what I'm looking for is a fairly decent pullback onto this level, 35,655, possibly even further down to 35,550. That would be healthy. So if we can have a decent pullback into that area, that's definitely an opportunity to buy. And the nice thing about it coming all the way down to 35,550 is your stop is going to be below this tail here, and that is 35,440 area. So that would be your stop area. So your risk to reward is going to be fairly strong. Whether we drop today to erase all of yesterday's gains, I'm not 100% sure about that. That's still opened on our low and closed fairly close to our high. That was just a small little green bar, but it's still a bullish bar. So I would expect this level to be the one to pay attention to, 35,747. Wait for that, and then you're looking for an opportunity to get long. I would use a 15-minute for this, and you can see the 15-minute yesterday was chaotic, but the 155 EMA is your friend. That is your trend. So long as price stays above that on any time frame, the trend is in an upward direction. So we have an uptrend. If it drops below that and it stays below that, then you're looking for a different scenario. Okay, and that would be sort of a bearish move to the downside. So at the moment, this is the structure I'm looking at here. It may surprise you and just hold this level. It does that as well. So it may just hold this 35,779. But yeah, I'd be waiting here. I don't think I'd be wanting to take a trade there. I'll take a trade here. 35,747, and then you can use either this tail here or this tail here as your stop area. And if you really want to be conservative, well, not conservative, but smaller risk, you can make a stop right below the swing low or even below the low of the day. That would give you some fairly strong confidence, because then it's going to have to break through all the moving averages and a trend line to take you out. So if it does swing down, you're pretty much covered. And that's kind of my view at the moment. I definitely think there's still scope for a move to the upside. There's no doubt about that. But it's just the question is where we're going to buy off and what time frame we're using. So 35,779, but I would prefer 35,747. And I suppose 747 is probably not the right one. It's 35,755. 35,755. Just moving it up just to cover for my my spreads. Okay. Anyway, that's kind of my view at the moment. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.